If you're feeling lost, overwhelmed, or exhausted trying to navigate long COVID, POTS, or chronic fatigue syndrome, you're not alone. These are the 5 things I wish I would have done when I first got long COVID that would have helped me so much on my journey. And I hope they help you find your footing a little faster than I did. It can be so frustrating trying to get answers and find helpful, practical advice for facing this, especially when it comes on so suddenly, like it did for me. I've been there, and over time, I've realized that some lessons you can only learn by actually experiencing them. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today, to spare you some of the frustration that I went through. My name is Anders, and I'm a pre-med student who had to step away from school in August 2024 when I developed long COVID and POTS. Here are the 5 things that would have helped me so much when I first got long COVID and would have saved me so much energy and stress. Let's get into it. First, I should have prioritized water and electrolytes right from the beginning. 2 months after I got long COVID, my cardiologist made me aware that this was something that was really important for me to prioritize. So before then, I wasn't really taking the time to actually buy quality electrolytes that would help my body to retain blood volume. Personally, I experience weakness, dizziness, and tachycardia if I stand up too fast, and especially during prolonged periods of standing, I'll continue to get weaker, so I'll have to sit down eventually. The science behind this is actually fascinating. The common understanding is that our nervous system is not regulating blood pressure correctly, which leads to sudden drops when standing. And I personally suspect that it's not just about regulation, but it's also about total blood volume. Now, I'm not a doctor, so be sure to go to your doctor and have them rule out any other serious conditions before you look into POTS, long COVID, or chronic fatigue syndrome advice, because there are other conditions that can mirror the symptoms of this. But through my experience and my research, I've found that people with POTS oftentimes deal with low blood volume. And one proposed reason is actually because of RAAS underactivity, which stands for the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system. A review article from the Indian Pacing Electrophysiology Journal in 2006 reported that POTS patients tend to produce less aldosterone than people with normal blood volume. This means that their bodies aren't properly compensating by retaining sodium in fluids. And also, from my personal experience, my blood pressure is on average about 120/50, and I also have high red blood cells, high hematocrit, and high hemoglobin, abnormally high. And so actually I think this is because there is a compensatory response going on in my body, which is causing my body to produce more red blood cells due to the low blood plasma volume. So if you have POTS, odds are your body is not effectively reabsorbing electrolytes in order to regulate your blood pressure, which is why you have to help your body to give it extra electrolytes to push it toward better regulation. I personally use mango lemonade electrolytes from Santa Cruz Paleo. This is not a sponsorship, it's just something that's helped me. So anything that's helped me, I want to tell you so that maybe it can help you. I've also tried salt tablets, which my cardiologist gave me, and it helped a little bit, but it's just kind of a big tablet to take, and honestly, there's a lot of junk added fillers in that. So Santa Cruz Paleo is going to be very minimal. It also has Himalayan sea salt, which has a lot of added benefits as well. Another thing that would have saved me a lot of time and energy is realizing my food sensitivities. And I've always kind of had a hunch that I am sensitive to gluten, but I've never fully had the motivation to completely get rid of it because I felt fine. But now it's definitely making me reconsider that. So actually 6 weeks ago, I completely got rid of gluten, and immediately the sharp pains that I would get in my abdomen completely went away. So realizing and recognizing your food sensitivities can have a huge impact on your health, and gluten is known to cause inflammation in your body and a heightened immune response. So if there's any inflammatory processes going in your body, which I suspect is very likely with long COVID, it could be a good idea to just try without gluten or something else that you feel like you're sensitive to. So I'm very glad I did that. 7 weeks later, I still am off gluten, and I am not having those sharp pains any longer. So third, I wish I would have freed myself from the anxiety of exercising. I was so scared to go exercise, and my world was getting smaller and smaller because of this. And every time I would exercise, I would get more and more symptoms. And you probably know what that's like. If you get post-exertional malaise, maybe I might aggravate chest pain, and then you're worried that something horrible is happening, you're gonna have a heart attack. And this is actually how I first ended up realizing that I had POTS. Is I went for a jog and I had horrible chest pain. I went to the urgent care, wasn't having a heart attack, and I was very thankful for that, but also very confused, like, why am I having chest pain that feels so painful? So it really took me 4 months to realize I can work out a little bit, and it's not actually anything serious happening to my body like a heart attack. Now, I want to add a huge caveat here to make sure that you go to your cardiologist or your primary care doctor and you have anything else ruled out. But if everything is normal and your doctor clears you to exercise, I think it can be really helpful to know that you're okay. You might have some flare-ups of these symptoms, but it's actually just a dysregulation of your autonomic nervous system not responding correctly. And one thing that actually gave me a lot more confidence was cardiac rehab, where I was monitored by an electrophysiologist for a month. And this helped me to know that my vitals, they were all stable while I was exercising. So then when I went off to do it on my own, I felt a lot better. And so maybe this is something that you could consider looking into, just an idea. The fourth thing that I would have done is I would have not have felt guilty for saying no to things. Because of the vagueness of long COVID and POTS, it made me feel like what I was experiencing was less real. And so I had less of an excuse to say no to things, even though my body was completely in a dysfunctional state. So I want you to know that what you're experiencing is real. POTS and long COVID are very difficult to go through, and it really makes things hard. I want you to give yourself permission to rest and not feel guilty about it. And it's very natural to want to show up to everything, especially for me at a young age. But I just told myself that it's fair and valid to move at a slower pace than my healthy friends and family. And then fifth, if you want to be able to rest well with POTS, it's not enough just to sit down or sit on your phone. I think you have to lie down with no stimulation, and especially getting your feet above your heart can really help to bring your blood down and not have to fight against gravity anymore. So this can really help with perfusion, with blood pooling if you struggle with that, and just getting the blood to your brain, maybe with brain fog. So it is called postural or the static tachycardia syndrome for a reason, because the posture has a lot to do with it. And when you stand up, then gravity is pulling all your blood down, and then your body's having a hard time regulating that and moving it throughout your body efficiently. So to recap, here's the 5 things that I wish I knew 10 months ago. First, I would have prioritized water with electrolytes. Second, I would have recognized and addressed my food sensitivities, which for me was gluten. Third, I would not have been afraid to gently exercise if your doctor has cleared you. Fourth, I would have been okay with saying no to things and just releasing that guilt. And fifth, I would have prioritized lying down and resting, especially with your feet up. I hope you found something helpful here, and if you did, I'd love to hear your story because it motivates me to keep going on mine. Praying you find a little bit more peace today. Thank you so much. Bye.